Alright, I want to show you guys something that I've had for quite a while, probably 18 months. So this is a pretty good long-term review of the Dynomotive or UNICHIP head-up display. I had the first one, the link to that's up here. It was okay, had some issues. This one is heaps better. Still has some issues, and I'll tell you about that. Actually, I'll tell you everything. I'll make this fairly comprehensive. But if you want all the info right now, I'll give you the first 2 points now, and then you can watch the rest later. So, first, if you own a Y62 or any four-wheel drive really, and you're going to change tyres and that sort of thing, the speedo is going to be out. So that's the first thing we can do, is get the speedo correct. Second thing is, if you go four-wheel driving and you're remote, and even worse, you're on your own, and you throw a fault code, the car goes into limp mode, you need to, one, know what it is, and two, be able to reset it. So this device can do that. So for the sake of $100 or something, they're not dear, they're the two big things, but it does heaps more, and there is quite a lot of detail into this little gadget. So I'll take you through everything. That's the UNICHIP head-up display on the right, and I thought it would be interesting to see how it correlates with my phone app that does GPS speed. Alright, issue number one, especially with Y62 patrols, is the speedo is out from factory. Mine's a series 1, and when I'm doing 100 k's an hour on the speedo, I'll look at my phone with the GPS sort of speed, I'm doing 91. So it's like a 9% error straight out of factory. That's really annoying. Go up to, for my car, I think different series are slightly different. For the series 1 2s, you go up to a 35-inch tyre and it puts the speedo at about, your actual speed at 95 when you're doing 100. And then when you go up to 37s, it actually gets it right. And 37s in my car with diff gears makes my speedo spot on, which that's great, but not everyone's done what I've done or wants to. So the other issue I've got is, okay, the speedo is wrong, but the actual odometer down the bottom is correct. So when I do 10,000 Ks on the odometer, it actually reads correct. So there's two speed things in the Nissan Patrol, which is really annoying. They purposely fudge the speedo, but the odometer is right. As I was saying though, everything changes when you go up in tyre size. So now my 37s, for the sake of easy maths, are about 10% bigger. They will, when I do 10,000 Ks on the odometer, I'm actually doing 11,000 Ks. So if I do this over, 10 services, I'm actually missing a whole service over that 100,000 Ks or 110,000 Ks. So you do have to think about different service requirements when you change tyre size on your cars. Alright, I'll head back to the instrument. This is what it is. So basic menus, we'll go through them all, and if this bores you, you can check out now, but if you want to know the detail about this little thing, here we go. There's one button that does everything on top. This is obviously your speed, and you can have two things down the bottom here, and you can choose what you want them to be. So that one's I've set to RPM, fuel ratio, I think, which map the computer's working, oil temperature, air fuel ratio, TCP, someone smarter than me will know what that is. I'm going to keep moving through the ones I don't know. How much time since I've turned the car on, I think 24 minutes. Distance I've travelled since I turned the car on. Above sea level, I really like this one, it's cool. When you're full driving, you can see how high you get, and it's just interesting, I suppose. Obviously voltage, which direction we're heading, so it's got a GPS component into it as well. RTC, and how many GPSs it's tracking at the moment. ECT. Alright, that's all of them. Hit the button again. It's just the same information displayed different ways. If you just want speed only, this is the one I tend to keep it on personally. I really like this one. So at the top, it's what's happening, everything live. That's your average litre per 100. As I was saying, there are issues with this thing. The best average litres per 100, well, let's say that again. It maxes out at 19.9 litres per 100, and if you're towing or you've got a car that's a bit thirsty like mine, it just sits at 19.9 the whole time, never goes any over it at all. Because of all the tyre size and Nissan's fudging, all your figures on your dash are wrong. So when mine says it's doing 21.2 litres per 100, probably because I've just been parked here for the last 10 minutes, and it uses lots of fuel, but that I can't trust. And I've noticed when I've used my head-up display, and because I can actually trust that now because it's using GPS distance and actual fuel running through it, it's about 1.5 litres less when I'm running 35s and about 3 litres different to the dash when I'm on 37s. So even though I'm upset about doing 21.2 litres per 100, it's actually 3 off of that, 18.2. I can kind of live with that. That's not too bad, considering how built up this vehicle is. So one limitation of the head-up display is that. Not a big fan of that part of it. Wish they could fix it. Alright, this second line here is instantaneous, so that's what's happened on this trip. I've travelled 8Ks, I'm doing 2.4 litres per hour. You can, probably because I'm stationary, that changes to litres per 100 once I get moving. And then down the bottom I have coolant temp. With these vehicles, they can get hot if you're idle, and if you're not actually got revs going through the car, like 2000 RPM, the viscous thermofan won't engage, and you know, when I pick the kids up from school and I'm in the car park with the car running, air conditioning flat out, I can see it creep up. Usually at 105, if you're travelling on the road, you know, going up a hill or full driving, the thermofans will come on, but if you're stationary, there's not enough revs to run both because it's a massive thermofan. So it means when I see the temperature going up and hit 105, I need to give it some revs when it's cooling down. Actually, you'll see mate Ilya do this when we recently went to the Pyrenees. Car's getting hot, stay stationary, full on throttle for a couple of minutes. The thermofan's so big it drops back down onto 100 really quickly. 110 is when it starts to get hot on the dash, so I never let it get over 110. Stop what I'm doing. Next we've got the voltage. That's just nice to know because the volt gauge on a Y62 Patrol on the dash is next to useless, and above sea level I like that. You can change these, so I can toggle left or right to change what it's doing. So I can have oil temperature or coolant temperature. That's interesting because there's always a lag between the two. And all the things I was describing before. So anything I want to show up down the bottom left here, I toggle left. Anything I want to show bottom right, I toggle right. So you can decide exactly what you want where in those sections. The rest of the boxes are fixed though. Press it one more time. This is interesting. So if you ever wanted to know 0 to 100 or 0 to 400, like quarter mile time, you can do that with this device. It's kind of fun. Actually, we'll go and run that test in a second, and you can see what a 400 horsepower car with 37-inch tyres does on a 0 to 100. I reckon anything under 10 is going to be a miracle. You can also do brake tests. I must admit, to do these tests, they're a little bit fiddly. You basically have to reset the device to do it. And same for average fuel and things like that. You have to reset the device to do it. Next, let's have a look at the fault codes. So if I press and hold this down, I can go and change things. So first of all, if I want to go to a 37-inch tyre, I'll go down to speed adjust, and I know for this car I've got to change it to 112%, and that tricks the or the signal coming from the OBD2 port times by 112%, and that gets the speedo right. But you can use the GPS speed too. You can have alarms for coming on for all sorts of things. I leave them off. Trying to find the bit for the engine codes. Or maybe it needs one first. Oh, here we go. So if there was a code there, that's where it would come up, and then you can reset them. So much information you can get out of this thing if you're that way inclined. Look at that, you could be here all day having a look at this stuff. It's all there anyway, if you want it. Alright, let's go do this speed test, hey? Alright, all staged here for the 0 to 400 test. Here we go. So we press this button and floor it. There we go, it beeps at 100. I'll leave it there, I think. And alright, what time did we get? 9.1. That's not bad. It's 3.5 ton. I could live with that. That's alright. You can see if we did keep the foot down, we would have got to the 400 meter time, but I just like cruised after that. Well, there we go. That is the UNICHIP head-up display review. Hope you liked it. I do reviews on this stuff all the time. Give us a like if you like this, or if you want to see more of it, press that subscribe button. We'll see you next time on YouTube. Yeah.